Before we get started, this video is a follow-up to my video on the original Endless Ocean. If you're interested in the series as a whole, I recommend you start there if you haven't already. If you're only interested in a review of this game individually, I'll give you a quick summary of that video. I thought the original Endless Ocean had a good concept, but was just underdeveloped. It had a lot of ideas, and there was a solid framework, but it felt more like a proof of concept than a fully fleshed out game. Because of that, I was very curious to see if this game would fix any of the issues I had with the original. After all, this is the game everyone always talks about, not the first one. And after playing it, it's clear to me why. This game does everything I hoped it would do, and then some. Endless Ocean Blue World, or Endless Ocean Adventures of the Deep as they call it across the pond, is a game we don't see very much of today. It's a sequel that was released just 2 years after the original. This is something modern games just don't have the luxury of doing anymore. Games take way too long to develop nowadays. Just to review, the issues I had with the original were how you can't swim and use the map at the same time to actually navigate where you're going, the character customization being pointless due to a lack of choices, long loading screens, lack of challenge or sense of danger, annoying fish identifying mechanics, bland samey environments, the pointless aquarium, and an anticlimactic ending. Endless Ocean Blue World opens with a cutscene depicting a mass migration of whales into your area, and a group of characters you'll meet later in the game discuss how you finally track down the key to an important legend. But right after you swim into the cave to see what it's all about, it flashes back to when you first joined the crew, and this is where the game truly begins. If you've played the original, this all feels very familiar. Hydrated Gaming is a diver who has just been hired by L&L Diving Service. Here, you're introduced to two main characters, an old boat captain, Gene Eric, and his granddaughter, Oceana. You start in a tropical coral reef and are tasked with taking pictures, giving guided tours, and identifying different species of fish. The pictures and the tours work the same as they did in the last game, which is no problem. Locating the specific fish the client is asking to see is still fun enough. What I didn't like last time was the fish identifying mechanic where you kept having to poke and pet the fish by shaking the Wii remote. And I'm happy to say that's the first problem this game addressed. Now you just swim up to the fish, hit the A button, and then boom, all done. Very simple without any of the wrist pain. After giving the tour, I got a notification that my diving level had gone up. Your diving level corresponds with how long your air supply lasts. This is new, and it's a welcome addition as now you feel like you're getting better with every dive. Also, to my great shock, the client actually paid me. There is a currency system in this game, and you use it to customize your outfits and buy gear upgrades which helps you improve your tools and air supply. This is another very welcome addition that gives you an actual reason to want to do these things. It also solves the lack of customization issue from Endless Ocean 1. I also realized those guys from the last game never paid me for my work. I was even more surprised when I was taken to the hub world in this game. Instead of being on a boat like last time, you're on a private island called Nine Ball Island, named after how the old man won it in a game of pool. This is where you can change the time, train your dolphin, and buy stuff at the store among other things. A new addition here is the quest book, which lets you keep track of what you're supposed to be doing in the main quest and on side quests. There are a lot of side quests now involving items or animals you need to locate, which is also something that wasn't in the original, and it adds a lot of replay value and depth. The only issue I have with this book is that you can only look at it while on the island, so when you're on the boat before diving you can't review what you need to do. You have to go back to the island to check it out, which seems like an oversight. It means you have to go through 2 loading screens to check the book and resume diving. Even with this, the game was really impressing me with all this stuff. After the intro, the granddaughter went by herself into a dangerous place to look for an item of personal importance to her, kicking off the main story, which I won't spoil in this review. I think the story here is better than last time. Again, it's not something super thought-provoking, but it's interesting enough you want to keep playing to see what happens next. When I went to go find her, I was once again shocked when I was attacked by an angry shark. Unlike last game, dangerous fish like sharks and piranhas will attack you. Your air supply acts like your health here, which is a very clever idea. If you get hit, you'll have less time that you can spend in the water, which can be very punishing when you're deep into a cave or a dungeon and you have to turn back. It almost makes the stakes seem pretty high at certain points, which is the exact kind of mechanic this series needed. So how do you escape these animals? You don't. You fight back. Yup, in this game you get a gun, which is awesome. It's not canonically a gun, of course. The explanation is that it just calms them down, and it can even heal injured and sick fish. So they managed to keep things PG, which fits better in a game like this. The sharks aren't very challenging to hit, this is a casual game after all, but the fun comes from the sudden surprise of the shark warning flashing and having to quickly take out the pulsar as it's called, find the fish and hit it a few times before it attacks you. And if that wasn't enough, they added another main mechanic in treasure hunting. Use what is basically a metal detector to find treasures buried in the seafloor which you can sell or use to complete side quests. It's very fun and addicting to track everything down, Between identifying fish, the pulsar mechanics, and the treasure hunting, there's enough gameplay variance to keep you entertained unlike last time. Also unlike last time, the coral reef area isn't the only place you visit. As the title of the game suggests, this is actually a global adventure. Sure, this means you have to visit Canada in the main quest, but it's a trade-off I'm willing to accept for the sake of environmental diversity. Freshwater rivers, icy waters, shipwrecks, caves, dungeons, this game has it all. In order to help you explore all of that further, the partner system has also been overhauled since the last game. Each companion character has their own strengths. The granddaughter finds a lot of fish hiding spots and can tell you about the area you're in. The scientist lady helps you track down specific fish species you're missing. The dolphin helps you move faster, and my favorite character, GG, helps you find treasure. He's the comic relief of the group with such classic lines as, "Keep a cool head like me. Have you seen my hair?" When he first joins the group, he immediately hits on the scientist lady. He's the most fun and interesting character to be around. Speaking of, the dialogue has also been greatly improved. The individual characters have much more well-rounded personalities, so much so that I hope they come back in the next game in some way. NPCs that aren't in your party are quite rude though. One called me an amateur and the aquarium director said I don't look extraordinary, which seemed uncalled for. Even after I beat the game, it felt like there was still a ton more content to really dive into. It's hard to fit it all into this review. There's coin collecting, decorating your own private reef, displaying things in the aquarium to attract tourists and their money, and much more I probably haven't even discovered yet. Just about the only thing from the first game that wasn't completely fixed here are the load times. They're not as bad as they were in the first game, but they're still noticeable. But if you're looking at this gameplay and thinking you might be interested in it, trust me, you will be. It's definitely targeting a small and specific audience, but I commend it for that, and I think it really delivers for that audience. I highly recommend Endless Ocean Blue World. If you only have time to play one game in the series before Luminous comes out later this year in 2024, definitely play this one. The first one is only worth going back to if you want to see how the series started. This is the definitive game in the series as of right now, and it isn't particularly close. This game has also made me into a fan, to be honest. I'm actually really looking forward to the new game now. I probably wasn't going to try it before, but this game changed my mind. I wonder how they're going to expand on this series, though, as Blue World is already pretty massive. I'm happy Nintendo is making this kind of game. This isn't one of their flagship titles, nor is it an indie game. It's something in the middle, and these types of games aren't as common as they once were. The AA level games have really been dying out. It seems everything is either AAA big budget or indie games these days. Now we even have more quadruple A games than AA games. But hopefully this new game is good and does well so that we can get more unique games like this with bigger budgets than the indie games usually have access to. The only thing I'm worried about for the new game is the controls. I tried using the Wii Classic controller for this game and it was not a good experience at all. Definitely stick with the Wii remote when you play it. Moving the on-screen cursor with the stick instead of pointing the Wii remote was way clumsier, and I wonder how this control scheme will transfer over to the Switch. It better be implemented better than it was here, and I'm pretty confident it will be. Anyways, that's all I have to say on this game. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.